What's happening in Flint, Michigan right now is a national tragedy and a national disgrace. An elected government who tried to save money by feeding tainted water to its citizens, the majority of which are black and with limited political clout. Concerns about the children and the brain damage they may face drinking lead-contaminated water, and the misuse of taxpayer money when studies show it could have been all avoided by spending about $100 a day back in 2011. Our guest grew up in Detroit, Michigan, wrote for 12 years at the Detroit News as their community concerns columnist, former radio talker in the Motor City who knows the underbelly of what's happened in Flint, now with Community's Digital News. Let's welcome Kevin Fobbs to the Hardline. Kevin, this reads as a tragedy and as somebody simply wanting to poison human beings. We have the city of Flint basically using water from a river, the Flint River, that everybody knew was poisoned. They were told it was poisoned by Virginia Tech researchers. By the time they stopped using this water and people were asking why the water was brown, they found that the water was 19 times more corrosive than the Lake Huron supply, and it had basically infected the pipes and had been poisoning people for years. Is this simply because they said, don't worry about it? Low-income families, it's just a little water, let them go.
Right, it was. And one of the problems with Flint, Michigan, and a lot of cities like Flint, is that they really have no value for poor people. They really have no value, especially for minorities. And that they could have done the due diligence. And most people in Metro Detroit or in Michigan understand old water systems. And they understand also what was happening. Flint, Michigan could have saved a lot of money and could have prevented this. Really, it is a civil rights infraction. Actually, it's a travesty. Because
is this not criminal, though, Kevin? Let's get real honest here. This is almost criminal when you know that something is poisonous. You could have done something about it. You let it go for years, and you are allowing people to drink the water. This is something that the government, the federal government's got to get involved in and bring people to court, bring them on charges.
Right. Matter of fact, one of the things that, and my good friend, the Attorney General, Bill Schuette, should zero in on is that take a look at the documentation. Take a look at what they were doing when they disengaged from the Detroit water system. Take a look at the documentation, because if you take a look at that documentation, you will find out, I'm sure, that these public officials had the intention and had the knowledge to actually cause this kind of destructiveness. And this can actually permeate for generations. This kind of attack on poor people in Flint, Michigan is a travesty. And you're right, this is more than just criminal. It's unconscionable at the highest levels. And I think that it bears reminding that in Flint, Michigan, where you have had the auto industry poisoning these waters, they knew that ahead of time. They decided to save money on the cheap and cause this kind of destructiveness to poor families who really had no out in this.
It is known as one of the most dangerous cities in America. It is it is one of the most dangerous places in America for women. Forbes magazine even rated it this. I got about 60 seconds left here, Kevin, and I know we can't solve everything here, but people want the president to get involved. Aren't we past that? This is not just a presidential issue. This is an issue involving people who just didn't give a damn about somebody because they were black and poor.
Poor and black is the code words in this. When you take a look at President Obama, if President Obama does not care about Chicago and the thousands of lives that are lost to black lives and to black people, why would he care about Flint? This is actually something that the Justice Department not only should get involved, but combined effort from the State Attorney General Bill Schuette and the Justice Department, and bring these individuals who voted on that, who actually supported this effort, bring them to trial and bring them to justice.
15 seconds, Kevin. We've seen this coming in Flint for a long time, haven't we?
We have. And I think I've worked with the past mayor in Flint, and I can tell you that this kind of effort by Flint to save money and to poison lives is not uncommon. It's not uncommon anywhere in poor areas in America.
Shameful and despicable, and hopefully people will wind up in jail because of this. And we may only find out in decades about the brain damage to children. Terrible.
Right.
Kevin Fobbs, I want to thank you so much for joining us. The candidate who says he loves evangelicals yet can't quite get his biblical quotes correct. Why do they love Donald Trump? We'll tackle that next when we continue right here on The Hardline.